From my perspective, if I had to advise Prime Minister, I would have advised to wait for a while because things are still in state of flux in America. Every day there is something new. Every day there are issues on tariff with Mexico, China, Canada, which are big partners compared to us. There are issues on hiring and firing, not hiring, but firing lots of people in America. Government going after immigration, Ukraine war, Gaza, and Israel issues. So there was really no need to rush, according to me. It would have been better for India to let things settle down with Trump administration. By then, we would have had a better understanding of President Trump's tariff approach. Because as you saw, on one day there was a tariff on Canada and Mexico, and after a few days, it was taken back, extended. So I think government here is still in transition. And we don't gain much by really expediting the trip when government is not settled yet. But I'm sure there was a need for photo ops, there was a need for cosmetics, and tell the world that we are important, and tell the world that we are friends and buddies, and we had to meet first. So I wish the timing would have been a little better for both countries, not just for India. This trip was really about America telling India what they want. There was very little room for negotiation. There was very little ask from India's side. The way Indian media is showing is very different. Okay. So the real issues from the US side were first trade, saying, look, we have trade deficit and we want to balance that. And we're going to settle trade with everybody, and you are no different. Of course, your trade is small compared to others, but we want to balance it. So we will increase tariff. We will call that reciprocative tariff. We don't know what that number is going to be yet. Details will be worked out. But we want balanced trade. And we want you to buy things from us. We want you to buy oil from us, gas from us, and we want you to buy defense more and more, whether it is fighter plane or anything else. So today, if our trade is 190 billion, we want that to be 500 billion, which is a good growth by 2030. That's only 5 years. So not only double it, but make it 2.5 times in 5 years is pretty ambitious. Okay.
Yes.
The question is, what would that mix be? So one was trade. We can talk more about trade. Second one was immigration. Third was really defense purchase. Asia Pacific. The rest of the stuff was not that critical. Okay. You can all lump that into technology, defense and all that. Those were the real issues. No, I think it is important to increase trade with every country because trade is a sure way to establish relationship, peace and prosperity for everybody. But the point is it a fair trade? Are you selling me something I need at the international price? Am I selling you something that you need at a fair price? Or we are inflating each other's price, and you are asking me to buy things I don't need. If I can buy cheaper somewhere else, why would I buy from you? Or for that matter, from anybody else? So I think these are the operational issues that will have to be sorted out. It is always good to have increased trade with any country because that allows our people to come closer to each other, and that sort of helps in peace and prosperity everywhere. I don't want to get into that. I had mentioned it to you and your colleagues earlier. But the results tell you who is a better negotiator. Don't look at the words because many leaders don't mean what they say and they don't say what they mean. Okay. So don't take it as a flattery. Look at the results of the negotiations and then you can figure out yourself who is a better negotiator. I don't know what is the threat from China. I think there is always this thing blown out of at times proportion because US has the habit of defining an enemy. I think time has come for all of us to really network nations and not have confrontation. Our attitude is that of confrontation from day one. And that attitude creates enemy, and that creates certain support in the country. I think we need to change that pattern. You know, to assume that China is the enemy from day one, it's just not fair, not just to China, but to anybody. Okay. I think it is time for us to learn to increase communication, collaborate, cooperate, and co-create, and not have this command and control mindset. China is around, China is growing. You got to recognize that, respect that. And every other country is going to grow. Okay. Some will grow faster, some will go slower. Those who are very poor has to grow faster. Those who are well accomplished, developed, they will have slower growth. Those who are developed also will have aging population. And those who are developing will have young population. So you got to look at all of these things together. It is always good for leaders to meet each other. It is always good for them to build bond, friendship, understanding. And whenever you go out, you learn something. You learn something from others. Okay. You open your horizon. You see things differently. So it's always good to have foreign interactions because we are a country of 1.5 billion people. So we need more and more foreign interactions. The question is timing, purpose, and clarity of purpose. For example, I have said time and time again that I wish we had strategic relationship with US and not transactional. See, it reminds me of days of Nehru. When Nehru and Kennedy worked out a plan for a strategic relationship, which said America will help us on IITs and IIMs. Look at the strategic vision, which really brought us where we are today. That was one very important input. America will help us in big projects. Okay. Today, there is no conversation on education. There is no conversation on health. There is very little conversation on infrastructure. It is basically products. I'll sell you gas and oil and computers and laptops and cell phones. Okay, you sell me clothing and stuff like that. Okay. So I would like to see a strategic relationship. We talked about AI and all that, but there's nothing concrete. Okay. Did America say that we will come and build 5 AI centers for India together, like we built 5 IITs? That would be strategic. Okay. So I'm disappointed that we still are focused on transactions. But that's the way it is. Well, since I worked on the railway modernization plan and prepared a document for the government of India during Dr. Manmohan Singh's time and during Mr. Dinesh Trivedi's time, when Mr. Dinesh Trivedi was the Minister of Railways. We paid a lot of attention to safety. There was a report, a special report on safety. I believe we are not paying much attention to safety. We are not making enough investments on safety because safety is not glamour. So we are more concerned about high-speed trains than about repairing our tracks. I would like to see more money going into safety, security, repairing our tracks so that you don't see too many railway accidents. Because railway is a place where too many people come together. The risks are very high compared to a bus stand or even compared to airport. So when you see stampede in Delhi, you realize that it is because of the crowd. Okay? And the risk of losing lives in this kind of a crowd is very high. So I wish we could spend a lot more investments in improving railway safety. I see accidents, one in Chennai, then somewhere else, then somewhere else. And a lot of these accidents have to do with poor tracks. And we need to really pay more attention to that. But it's not glamorous. Starting a bullet train with a green janda and showing Prime Minister and others celebrating is pretty sexy. So we do that. Okay. So I'm disappointed that we are not making the recommend or implementing the recommendations by the safety committee. That's already there for last decade. What Congress president has to answer. It's not for me to answer. I can answer about Indian Overseas Congress. I get very disappointed when I see these tutu meme. You said this, I said that. Okay, you believe this, I believe that. Okay, and immediately we go into discussion on religion, caste, minorities. You know, too much energy is spent on conversations on religion. Religion is a personal thing. I respect it. I don't want to know your religion. It'll be nice if it comes in our normal conversation, that's okay. But before you start, I don't want to know whether you are Muslim or Hindu or Christian or Jain. I respect you for what you are. Okay. We immediately try to divide people as opposed to bring them in. That is the concept of inclusion. I wish our conversation would change from religion, caste, to more looking at the future. We are always looking at the back. We don't have eyes in the back. We have eyes in front. So we got to look at front. How are we going to create jobs? Who is creating jobs? How are you going to improve our education quality? How are we going to clean up our hospitals? I was talking to a fellow from India recently, and he talked about his daughter's school and this and that. I said, look, why don't you go to your daughter's school and fix all the bathrooms rather than complaining? Just go do it. Who will stop you? Maybe you go at night. Okay, take 5 people with you and install proper door. Make sure bathrooms are clean. Install light, maybe a camera, rather than complaining. But there is very little conversation in the country about providing proper bathrooms to our girl children in schools. Immediately that will get into Vishnu said this and Rama said this and you know Allah said this or Hanuman said this. Okay. I get irritated. I get irritated because we lose sight of the real challenge. I worry about our children's education, quality of education. Some kids are very smart because they are smart to begin with. Schools have nothing to do with it. When you have large number of kids, you are bound to have some good ones. So I wish even in US trip, there was little more conversation on education, health. We talk about cleaning India. I mean, look at the filth all over. What are we talking about cleaning? You look at Yamuna. You look at, dirt in Mumbai near slums. But we have big posters on Clean Up India. We take great pride in promoting lies. Okay. And social media hasn't helped. Social media has really complicated our life by spreading lies, rumors, misinformation, threat, dividing society, spreading fear. That's not good for a developing society like ours. We have no time but to improve our education, health, infrastructure, and not worry about buying so many fighter jets. That's my concern. We get all excited that we are going to be allowed to buy more fighter jets. Come on, give me a break. Okay. I want to improve our fundamentals. Okay. I want to improve character of our leaders. I'm very disappointed with the character of our leaders, values they bring in. They're just, they remind me of Gandhiji's era. Saying, where was Gandhi? His values, his character, his commitment, his sacrifice. And where are the leaders of today? I'm ashamed of many. They are vindictive. They don't listen. They think they know all the answers. And democracy is definitely under threat. I heard someone from the government speaking about democracy recently on some YouTube. Democracy is not about elections. Election is a starting point. Free and fair election is a starting point, which we don't have today, I can tell you. Okay. Second thing is really institutions, independent institutions, judiciary, security, police, universities. Our universities are not independent. If I get invited to a university, vice chancellor gets panic. Oh, Pitroda is invited? No. Government might say something. Don't invite him. Is that democracy? Is that freedom? Then civil society is not allowed to function properly. Third, media is not fair. These are the things that make democracy. And we say, yes, we have democracy because we had elections. No, that's not true. We didn't have fair and free elections. Now we can talk about the degree of it and we can have a discussion on it. That's fine. But I should be able to have a conversation, a dignified conversation. You and I had a dignified conversation. We don't have to agree on everything. But you are a young man and I need to understand your needs. I need to listen to you. And quickly, I don't need to start advising you. Okay. So I see a challenge here. Our young don't speak up about their needs and future. They also get trapped in discussion on religion, discussion on, petty issues. They don't say, wait a minute, where are the jobs? Explain to me. How many in construction? How many in agriculture? How many in technology? How many jobs in government? Where is the list? What does it cost to create one job in railway, in telecom, in infrastructure? I want to know all that. Can we have a conversation on that? I hardly see it. I'm interested in development. Okay. I'm interested in cleaning up India. Look at, we have this Make in India. What are we making? Is there anything that is made in India that world will buy? Because we are the only one expert in that, except IT and software. And that also happened because the seeds were planted 40 years ago. Okay. Would you buy our cars? Would you buy our power plant? Would you buy our, agriculture produce? Is it competitive? That's where the future is. If we want to create jobs for our people, we must produce for the global market at the right price, right quality. And that's made in India. Not some posters and tiger and some nice, gears shown. Okay. Too much resources are spent on publicity and not enough on the ground to get things done. Because it's all about tamasha, na? Sad, but that's how it works.